Can you feel this passion? It's amazing. Hail, hail, hail to the Redskins. Crowds roar, horns blow, see the fire blazing. Hail, hail, hail to...
What is going on internet? This is JD coming to another video from Redskins Rant. Hail to the Redskins. Before I get started with this video, please like, share, and subscribe on this video and this channel. We'll be talking about the Redskins versus the Panthers. A lot of good things to talk about in this game. Final score was 29-21. Could have been over 30 if we wouldn't have had a field goal blocked at the half. We made some bad clock management in that time frame that I think we could have fixed and possibly got in the end zone, or at least got maybe a field goal out of it. But regardless, I got some good things to go over. I will start with Dwayne Haskins. Next, I'll start someone a more positive note than Dwayne Haskins right now. Darius Guice. Darius Guice had 10 rushes for 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 yards per carry average, 12.9. An NFL record for over 100 yards, 10 rushes, and touchdowns, whatever. And he looked like the guy we drafted. The guy we drafted, the guy we wanted, the guy we wanted in our backfield. He looks like that. They really need to scale back Adrian Peterson and start giving the ball to Guice. Adrian Peterson had 13 rushes for 99 yards. He just couldn't get that one more yard to get over the hump, but he got a touchdown. Both of them had a lot of averages, like high yards per attempt averages. Chris Thompson had 3 rushes for 14 yards. Even Haskins threw 6 yards in. So all in all, a very solid running attack. I'm very impressed with that. Our offensive line did a great job. Carolina's defensive line is no slouch. Now, their offensive line is a different question, which is why our defense did pretty well against them. But their offensive line, or our offensive line, did great. So I'm not going to go too much onto that. They actually did a pretty good job. Jerron Christian had an effective role in blocking. Eric Flowers needs re-signed. I mean, I've been saying that for a couple weeks now. That guy we need to give him an extension. He has far exceeded expectations. Eric Flowers has far exceeded the expectations that we as Redskins fans put on him based on his track record and everything, and he has blown out the expectations. He needs to be re-signed today. He really does. Give him a 2-year extension. Give him decent money. We're probably going to franchise tag Brandon Sheriff, and we're drawing Christian. If he can play as decent as he did yesterday, or Sunday, today's Tuesday. Sunday, excuse me, I'm a little bit sick still. Sore throat was really bad yesterday. But if Jerron Christian can do decent the way he was on Sunday, we have a good, decent left tackle, and we can probably draft another one. We have decent backups in Wes Martin and Pierce Brocker. I would personally like to draft a left tackle and move Jerron Christian to right tackle and get rid of Morgan Moses, because I don't like him. That's been a very consistent opinion I've had, because I don't like Morgan Moses. I think he's a waste of space. Not gonna get too much into that. There wasn't that many penalties on the offensive line. That was very helpful. We weren't behind the sticks a lot, so it's very helpful to our offensive line, or to our whole offense, to the quarterback, to running back. If our offensive line doesn't give stupid penalties, which costs us to go 10 yards backwards and start 1st and 20 or 2nd and 20 or whatever. Protection was very good. I thought protection was pretty darn good for Dwayne Haskins. Receiving core, this is probably one of their worst games they've had recently. Some drops. There were definitely some drops in this game. Jeremy Sprinkle had like 2 main drops I can think of. I know Adrian Peterson had a drop that would have been caught for about 8 yards on, I think it was a 2nd and 10 or something. There's a couple others too. So there's a couple guys that are dropping passes. And Haskins, if I scroll up here and look at his numbers, was 13 of 25. I think it was probably about 3 or 4 drops. So if you give him the benefit of the doubt, say it's 17 or 18 roughly of 25, not too bad. He probably could have got over 200 yards if you get that, and he would have got a touchdown. So some things that Haskins is doing I actually really like. Now here's the thing. If you saw my video last week, I know I posted like very weird timing. like the internet was just bad at my house this week, so I couldn't post it. But I posted like right as the game was starting, because I want to make sure I got on the record on some things. Haskins is showing an ability to actually be able to go through his progressions. He's finding guys open. He's not always making the greatest throws. Okay, if you're overthrowing someone open, the benefit of that is you found someone open. Now you just gotta get your mechanics down. So that's really the biggest part of this of Haskins' development. Is he's got to get back to, got to be able to go through his progressions and then hit open people when they're open. Now he is showing some ability to improvise. He is showing an ability to have, his arm is really strong. He's one of the strongest. I'm not gonna say he's the strongest in the league, but he's getting up there. Okay, he's got a strong arm, and he is throwing off balance a couple times, and it's really showing that he has the ability to do throws off balance. He can throw with his arm only. It's not always a great thing, okay? But whenever he has to scramble and whenever he has to move around the pocket, he's been able to get rid of the ball and still put a little oomph on it. There's a couple that he could have had that would have given him a lot more yards, but there's also a couple he threw off balance that gave him an opportunity to get a touchdown. The one in the second quarter, that was a little deep in the end zone. If he'd have just threw it a shorter, actually, instead of like throwing it longer, the receiver could have came back and caught it in the end zone. There's another one we had a progression in the red zone, and he didn't work back to the right side of the field. He ended up getting sacked. I think we got a field goal out of it. If he'd worked back to the right side, Steven Sims was wide open. So those are like little things. I'm not going to get onto him about it because he's doing the things that I criticized him for earlier in the season that was like very concerning to me. He's actually showing that he's improving on. He's getting in and out of the huddle. He's not having a lot of play clock violations. He's going through progressions. He's finding guys open. It's not like he's throwing to guys that aren't even close to being open. He's finding guys open. And he's shown an ability to have a cannon for an arm. Now, am I looking at this glass half full? Absolutely. I don't think he's broken 200 yards maybe once, but he hasn't hit 300 yards yet. Okay? There are plenty of, the quarterback he played as a rookie, and I can look at the stats for the season. I mean, the quarterback he played was Kyle Allen, and he got almost 300 yards in this game alone, and our defense actually played very well against him. So our defense, I give our defense credit, and I'll get to them in a minute. You have quarterbacks that are no more experienced than Haskins is in the NFL. They may have more college experience, but like Drew Lock started Sunday, and I'm pretty sure he had, I'll look it up. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Drew Lock. Broncos. His first game, he didn't have that much. He didn't have as much as I thought. 134 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. I could have sworn he had more than that. Oh, well. But anyway, his first start, he had 2 touchdowns. Other quarterbacks this year, their first start, Minshew has had more than 300 yards in the game. That's how we drafted him. I am expecting more. But 2 weeks ago, I did give an example of what I would accept from Haskins, like not having a lot of passing yards if certain things happen. We didn't have any turnovers, and we had a very effective running game that won us the game. And I will say this is probably one of those weeks. And there's definitely opportunities in here where Haskins made the right play, the right throw, and guys didn't catch him. Jeremy Sprinkle is one of the examples of he's not a catching tight end. He got 2 catches for 36 yards. He could have had 2-point conversion. He could have had a lot more things. I'm not going to get too much into it. Again, I'm not trying to rip on anyone right now. I'm just going to say that in a game with Terry McLaurin only had 8 yards receiving, we still win by 8 points. We still have a significant game where we're pretty, I don't want to say dominant, but we at one point we were very dominant. From the first quarter on, I'll rephrase this. From the first quarter on, we were very dominant. So, enough about the offense, talk about defense. Defense, I'm very impressed with the way our defense played. We seem to be, I'm going to bring up the stats for the Panthers. We seem to be Christian McCaffrey's kryptonite. Last year he didn't have good stats against us. This year we held him to 44 yards. He's the number 1 yards from scrimmage guy in the league right now. Okay, probably not anymore after this game. I think Dalvin Cook probably took that last night. But our defense is proving that stuff there. We have a lot of guys on rookie contracts. I think we have like 28 guys on rookie contracts that we're going to have next year. So the future looks pretty nice. The question is, who's our coach? Who's our GM going to be next year? What's the offense going to be like? Things like that. But I'm going to congratulate the defense. They did a great job. The entire defensive line did great. The coaching staff did great. This is the first time I've seen in a while where the Redskins got punched in the mouth and the coaching staff made adjustments, especially the defensive coaching staff. Got to give Manusky a little bit of credit. Now, is this saying that I think Manusky should now keep his job? Hell no. I don't think that whatsoever. But he did a great job, and I give the man credit. The entire coaching staff, I want to give credit. They straight up punched us in the mouth when we came back and punched back. We battled back in the game. We should have had a lead at halftime. We should have been 15-14. We did some stupid things with a pass interference call. That alone would have been sprinkled for me, but we don't have the luxury of benching tight ends right now. That's just a dumb play. We're in field goal range. Just don't do that. Knock it out of bounds if you can't catch it. And you caught it out of bounds anyway, but we get a field goal out of it. Instead, we got to go 15 yards back, and we got to kick it at an angle, and it just didn't go so hot. And it could have been bad. It could have been really bad because it could have been recovered by them, and they could have returned it for a touchdown. Whereas we had a really easy kick. We had 3 points, take the lead, go into halftime, up a little bit with all the momentum. Which we still had all the momentum, but we could have gotten more momentum. We should have had more points, so on and so forth. The defense, some of the things I want to talk about. Ever since we benched Josh Norman, our defense has actually been pretty decent. Ever since we benched Josh Norman. I don't know what it is. Maybe he can't cover anymore. I don't know what it is, but I am superb. I actually said that earlier this year. I said, get rid of Josh Norman and bench him or something. Trade him. Because he is not who he used to be. He can't cover anymore. He is mixing up the coverages, and guys get wide open. We haven't really had that many breakdowns. The only breakdown we had on in this game was guys ran into each other, and that got someone open. But for the most part, ever since he's sat, Fabian Rose come in and got interceptions. Jimmy Moreland's played well. Defense all around, the whole defense has actually played pretty solid. The only thing I'd say is maybe our passing defense needs to get a little bit better. But we have played some bad quarterbacks the last 2 weeks, so let's be fair. Sam Darnold's not a great quarterback either, but I'm not getting into that. But, yeah, I mean, defense has actually played pretty darn well the last few weeks, and I'm going to give them credit. I think we all need to give them credit. We need to give the offensive line credit. The only people I'm gonna kind of like tilt my head sideways and look at weird was our special teams with the block kick, which might not have been their fault, to be honest. The blocking was fine. I think it was just a low kick. And, Tressway, I definitely give a shout to him. He kicks a 79-yard punt. It goes in the end zone and still nets 59 yards. That's when you know you have a good kicker. The guy, if he didn't go in the end zone, that would have been almost an 80-yard kick. You know how great it is to be able to flip the field like that in the NFL? That's incredible how amazing he's been kicking. Now, then also we'll talk about our onside kick team. Onside kick, why didn't they go for the football? I get it. The front row guy is supposed to knock everyone. The back row is supposed to run up and catch it. Why didn't no one from the back row run up and catch it? Take a little initiative. Like Jesus. It's crazy. That was the first onside kick the Panthers have gotten since 1998. So it's almost 21 years since they got an onside kick, and it happened to be against us. That made me a little worried because I thought Redskins were running away with it. I really thought that. But we still ended up winning, so I'm going to be happy. And here's a cool thing, too, is two guys, and I can't think of their name right now. Let me switch back to the Redskins stats, and I'll find their names. Nope, I don't want that. So a couple guys that weren't really on the team. Oh, I got to talk about the Anderson thing. What are their names? Nate Orchard and Chris Odom. Some guys that came off like the either practice squad or just signed this week. Stepped up. They had a couple sacks. They had a couple, what did they have? Combined, they had 3 sacks. They had 6 tackles. They had a couple tackle assists, so 7 of those. And Chris Odom had a forced fumble. That's fantastic. Kudos to you guys. You get your opportunity and you shine. That's incredible. Okay? That's I don't want to say it's a winning mentality because we're not winning. We're winning 2 games in a row, but we're not winning a lot right now. But that's a good mentality to have where guys that are signed from practice squad show up in a big game because one of those tackles, I think it was by Orchard, one of them was on the goal line in the last couple minutes, in the last couple seconds of the game, that preventing McCaffrey from scoring. One of them was that. I think he might have got two. Maybe one of them got each. I think one of them got a sack in that too. The one that got Kyle Allen backpedaling or whatever. But both of them did very well. The entire defense, all around, if you look at this, just tackles everywhere. Defense got 5, 6, 7 sacks. I mean, that's just fantastic. And we didn't have our sack guy. Montez Sweat finally showed up, showed some good things. Landon Collins showed up, did some good things. A lot of good things all around. I'm not going to get too into it. I just want to give a big old shout out to the defense. Good job on the defensive part. You responded after being punched in the mouth 2 straight possessions. You did well. And then the offensive line and the offense responded by, grinding out possessions. We didn't start strong, but we finished very strong. So now I'm going to talk about this for 2 seconds. Ryan Anderson got thrown out of the game for his hit on Greg Olsen. But for some reason, and I don't remember the guy's name, the guy who plays for the Panthers, who had a full-on head of steam and waylaid into our guy, Trey Quinn, got nothing. He got a 15-yard penalty. That's it. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. I get it, Greg Olsen went limp the second he got hit, but Greg Olsen ducked his head into the hit, first off, because whenever Ryan Anderson was coming in for the waist, and then Greg Olsen ducked his head down to protect himself. And he put his head in harm's way, and that's not Anderson's fault. Okay? Trey Quinn was trying to catch a punt, trying to catch a punt, field a punt, and the guy just waylaid him. Why is one suspended or one ejected from the game, the other one is not? To me, that is just utter bullshit. Eject them both or eject neither of them. Okay? Trey Quinn's probably out with concussion right now. Okay? He might be. I might have to find that out. It's probably not going to tell me. I'll look for it later. I'm not going to worry about it right now. But we lost Trey Quinn, who is, he's part of our young core of guys. And now we don't have we might have Trey Quinn next week when we play an even better team. Which is a good segue into this. I'm not trying to drive this hype train. Okay? I'm not trying to drive it at all. But the Redskins, statistically, are not out of the playoff hunt. Let me bring up the standings for the NFL right now. The NFC East, the Redskins right now are 3-9. Okay? There's 4 games left. If the Redskins were to win out, okay? If they were to win out, okay, I'm not saying they're going to, but if they were to win out, they would be 7-9. Okay? They have to play the Packers. Okay, beating the Packers is the key to this. If we don't beat the Packers, there's no point, because if we get 6-10, it's not make the playoffs. Okay? We beat the Packers because the Cowboys and Eagles got to play each other. Okay? So the Cowboys and Eagles got to play each other, so one of them's going to get the win. I think best case scenario in that is Eagles beat the Cowboys. And then we beat the Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants. So our destiny is kind of in our hands. I got to kind of look at their schedules now. Hold on a second. I know our schedule. I'm actually going to the Giants game. I actually get to go to my first Redskin game. I'm really excited. First one I'm going to remember. Apparently I was at the Super Bowl in 91 when I was little. Don't remember it. I was 4. So I don't remember that. But apparently I was there. That's what my dad tells me. There's pictures of me. But I don't remember it because I was too little. But, so Dallas's remaining schedule is they play the Bears. I think the Bears are going to beat them. Then they play the Rams. I think the Rams are going to beat them as well. Okay? Then they play the Eagles. Cowboys, the Eagles got to beat the Cowboys, and that puts them at, it puts all of us in a similar record. Eagles play the Giants, so we kind of need the Giants to beat the Eagles. Then we play the Eagles. We can beat them. If we beat them, I think that puts them out of contention. Yeah, because they would be 5-8, and at that point we would be. I'm just double checking here. Sorry, I'm doing the math in my head. Oh man, the Eagles play the Giants twice, so might be a little bit SOL here. But if Eagles lose to the Giants the first time, lose to us, and then lose to the Cowboys, yeah, best case scenario is the Cowboys beat the Eagles, and the Giants got to beat the Eagles once, and then we beat the Eagles. Because that puts the Eagles at 6-10. That's the best case scenario. Is the Giants have to beat the Eagles one time, we have to beat the Eagles, and then the Cowboys beat the Eagles. That puts the Cowboys at 7 and that'll put the Cowboys at 7 and 7. Well, that puts them at going into the last game of the season. That puts them at 7 and 9. Yeah, that puts them at 7 and 8. I'm sorry, that'll put the Cowboys at 7 and 8 if they haven't won the last 2 games prior to that. So if we win out and we get to that point, we literally could have a 3-way fight for. And the Giants, even if the Giants went out, they're only get 6-10. And they play us once. So, I mean, what would be great is if the Giants beat the Eagles twice. That's the best case scenario right now. Giants beat the Eagles twice. That gets the Reds. Here's the best case scenario. Giants beat the Eagles twice. Okay? And then the Eagles beat the Cowboys. And then we went out. And the Cowboys got to lose all their last games. If they win one, we still have a chance. Because I think it'll come down to like best divisional record or something like that. I think that's what it comes down to. Which I think they would have the tiebreaker then. So the best case scenario is the Eagles only win one more game. And that is against the Cowboys. That's best case scenario. The Eagles only win one more game. That's against the Cowboys. The Cowboys lose out, and then the Redskins have to win out. It doesn't matter what the Giants do, but the Giants have to at least beat the Eagles. Need to beat the Eagles twice. So, but if they beat them once, I think we still have a shot. So, anyway, so that's like a weird scenario. I never thought I'd actually discuss that scenario. I thought the season was over. But the way the Redskins are playing, it is sustainable. That's what was successful last year. I think it helps our defense. The defense is well rested. Time of possession. What was the time of possession in that game? Let me go back. Game stats. Okay, it's not telling me time of possession. Okay, I'm not gonna worry too much about it. Okay, there we go. Time of possession. Team stats. Still not telling me. Oh, 30 minutes to 20. I mean, it's not much of a difference. It literally a difference of 57 seconds or something like that. So it's not too much of a difference. However, oddly enough, Redskins are in playoff contention. What do I want personally? I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing the Redskins go to the playoffs. Wouldn't mind it at all. The thing is, we will get a home game, and that'll bring people back watching the team. Here's the downside to that, though. If we make the playoffs, Bruce Allen has an argument to not get fired, and I think that would be the worst thing for our team is to have Bruce Allen still running, being the GM of the Washington Redskins. I think that would be the worst case scenario right now. So, as much as I would love to see my team win. Here's the best case scenario. I think if we win out and we make the playoffs, and the team does pretty good, maybe we get a playoff when we get someone that's a favorable matchup for us, and the Washington Redskins get a playoff win. Doesn't have to be anything special. Could be like the nastiest game we ever played, and then they still fire Bruce Allen, and then we get a new head coach next year. Because after you have a team that started as bad as we did, and we finished as strong as that, I mean, if we finished on a 6-game winning streak, if that's the case. If we were to make the playoffs, that would have to be the case. We have to finish on a 6-game winning streak. So, it's not the worst case scenario. I mean, we did start the season very strong the first half against the Eagles. So to finish the season with 6 wins, straight up, it does kind of lure a nice coach into our grasp. And I think also getting rid of Bruce Allen is going to lure a nice coach into our grasp as well. So, That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is we make the playoffs. The worst case scenario is we don't make the playoffs and we keep Bruce Allen. That's the worst case scenario. The second worst case scenario is we make the playoffs and we keep Bruce Allen. And then we have another year we're going to be mediocre again. We don't get a good coach, yada, 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 those things. But the best case scenario is, the second best case scenario is we don't make the playoffs and we fire Bruce Allen. That's not a horrible counter there, because most of us thought the season was done anyway. And I'm not one that gives up until the actual game it's actually over. I mean, there is life. I just went over the scenario where the Redskins could make the playoffs. So there is life in D.C., but I also really want the future of this team to be good. And if that means we have to not win the next 4 games and not make the playoffs, and that means next year and the following years we'll make the playoffs every year and we'll be a contender, I will take that. That's what I will take. I'm looking at our team. We have so much good talent that just needs to be put together the right way. I think Callahan is on the right path with putting it together. He's kind of thrown into the role, so he's doing what he can do at the best he can right now, from week to week. I think he's doing a pretty decent job of that. The only problem I would have to say is Redskins really need to find someone to manage the clock, because, my gosh, they can't find anyone to manage the clock. Any coach, no coach they have, whether it's Jay Gruden or Bill Callahan, can manage the clock properly. At the end of the in the second quarter, it's 2-something. Fourth down. It's fourth down. They let it run down the 2-minute warning. Take the timeout. Take the timeout. You can run stuff out of bounds. You can run passes out of bounds. Save the 2-minute warning as like another timeout, and then you have 2 timeouts left still. They had no urgency in the last 2 minutes and 20-some seconds, and they wasted They wasted a lot of time. You need to conserve as much of that time as possible. And you want to stop the clock at that point to make sure that you get the ball back with 2 minutes and some odd seconds. You run plays as fast as possible to get down to the 2-minute warning, and then you got to play 2-minute ball. I think actually Haskins is better in the 2-minute offense than anything else. Here's why. It's the most similar offense he has to what he had in college. To me, it is the most similar offense he has, the most familiar offense he actually gets to run, to what he had in college. And I think that's why whenever we get into a shotgun set where he can just drop back and throw, I think he does a little bit better. I think he's better at reading the field when he's already back there, rather than having to backpedal from taking it under center. So, I don't know. Not much else. I think we have a chance against Green Bay. Green Bay is obviously a contender this year, but I think we have an opportunity. We have a good track record against Aaron Rodgers, except in the playoffs. We beat him last year. Last time we played him in the regular season, we beat him. Time before that, we beat him. We have a pretty decent track record against Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that, or not in the playoffs. I mean, we have a good track record against him in the regular season. And let me just double check that. I don't think that we are. Is it a home game? It's in Green Bay, so we don't exactly. It's not home field advantage or anything, which we don't have one of those anyway. So, yeah. Without anything else to do, without further ado, that's the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts on anything down in the comment section down below. And other than that, hail to the Redskins. See ya.